Well, you may remember a principal in a high school in Texas, in Colleyville, Texas, who was fired last July for sending out a letter in the wake of the George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor murders, police murders, and just talking about structural racism, reminding the school district that it's not okay. Of course, that principal is black. And now we're getting more details about exactly how he was ousted by the school board, because they're loud and proud about what they did. Again, this is all part of the anti-critical race theory crusade. Here he is, James Whitfield, 43, was the principal at Colleyville Heritage High School. He, in the wake of the George Floyd murder, wrote a letter to the school community declaring that systemic racism is, quote, alive and well, and that they needed to work together to achieve, quote, conciliation for our nation. Education is the key to stomping out ignorance, hate, and systemic racism, Whitfield wrote. It is a necessary conduit to get liberty and justice for all. That sounds like Antifa to me. I don't know about you guys, what? How is that at all incendiary? But apparently it was. And in the next school board meeting, there was an initial discussion to perhaps fire that principal, Whitfield. And it took about a year, but they finally did in July of 2021. He was fired, but of course there was an outpouring of support from people who actually really liked him. So before the board made its decision, 35 people made public comments to the board, all of which were in favor of reinstating Whitfield as principal. He'd been put on like a temporary leave. Whitfield himself spoke before the board members went behind closed doors to then decide his fate. So he wasn't immediately fired, but eventually, yes, was fired. He says, they took my keys, they took my badge, they took my computer, Whitfield said, treated me like I was some criminal. Now we're getting a little insight about what went down in that school board. So in a recent video, this was posted to Facebook, a woman named Tammy Nakamura, a newly elected member of the board, revealed to a Republican National Committee sponsored school board panel in June, a thing I didn't know existed, but now I'm afraid of it, that former Colleyville Heritage High School principal James Whitfield was fired for his anti-racist activism. In fact, she says he was a, quote, total activist. So here she is, she's bragging about what she did. Again, she's on the board that helped fire this principal. Take a look.
Going back to the principal of Colleyville Heritage High School, that we found out he was a total activist. And of course, we were branded and put on national television just like South Lake was. That we fired him because he was married to a white woman. And I went in last week and read the whole file. And if you read the whole file, you'll see exactly why he was, there was a letter sent out at 4:30 in the morning from him, a 3-page letter to all of the parents. That's the straw that broke the camel's back, if you want to say.
Yeah, the straw that broke the camel's back, asking for equality and justice. If you didn't know anything about Colleyville, it probably wouldn't surprise you that it is a majority white city with only 1% of residents identifying as black or African American, according to census data. The median household income tops 150,000. He said, and this was about a year ago when he was fired, "I'm the quintessential boogeyman for these people," Whitfield said. Anything that has to do with anything related to equity or inclusion or diversity, they're gonna try to attach it to CRT. So there's more to this story, obviously, but again, these are the folks who rail about cancel culture. You're trying to cancel me, I can't say this, I can't say that. They got rid of a wonderful principal who everyone loved because he called for justice and equality in the wake of George Floyd's murder. And there you hear it. Cenk, I mean, it's like total activist, total activist.
Yeah, so look, I don't know how we're gonna get along with Republicans. This country is in really, really bad shape because look at what they're doing. I mean, that's just as good a guy as you'll find, the principal. And remember, he writes the letter right after the George Floyd situation. And then they look at it and go, "Oh, you think there should be liberty and justice for all, including black people? You're fired." So you thought the George Floyd thing was fine, and that he was being outrageous for saying that we should have liberty and justice for all. That was outrageous. It was outrageous to think that George Floyd shouldn't have been murdered, and that black people should have the same rights as white people. That makes you an activist. I mean, they mentioned critical race theory. He never taught critical race theory. He never espoused critical race theory. Critical race theory has nothing to do with this. As usual, it is just used for, oh, he mentioned race. And that makes us uncomfortable because we like being racist and we don't want equality for all. We don't want it. If you mention it, we'll fire you.
Yes.
So how am I supposed to get along with these people who are obviously over the top racist? That they'll fire a black man for being black, for saying, hey, maybe we should treat black people the same as white people. What used to be an uncontroversial statement in this country, at least publicly, for 40 years, publicly, that was not a controversial statement. Now it'll get you fired if you talk about equality for black people. You know who does that? Racists do that. They just took the hoods off. I got no interest in them. I can't stand these people.
No, and I think that you can see a moment, right? Because they're all fine with diversity. Black people can exist. Sure, maybe we'll give you a principalship, we'll give you a position, but never speak about your race. Yeah, we can all see you're black, yeah, we understand. Well, in fact, we'll give ourselves a pat on the back for you being black. We'll talk about you. You could be our best black friend, right? Our best friend who's black. That we have a black friend. But if you ever mention that you are actually black, that you believe in racial justice, you're out. You're absolutely out. And the only way, especially in the RNC, especially in the Republican Party, the only way you can get ahead, as I believe Candace Owen proves every single day, is by throwing your entire community under the bus, right? That's the kind of black person they like. If you're not subservient, quiet, not speaking about race, you have to speak about your race in a way that demonizes them. And you're the shining example. You're different. You're a different kind of black person. Seriously, I mean, it is shuck and jive racist crap. So okay, there's a little bit more, you guys, because this is the thing. The right is always telling us that the left and Democrats, they keep lists, right? And they're trying to oust people from campuses, and we ban people from Twitter because right, of course, Twitter is super big lefties. This is what they're saying about schools around the nation and what they're doing to similar principals and teachers. Take a look at this.
And again, if we don't stand up now, it's not in all of our classrooms, it's not everywhere. Actually, it's not in most of them. But we have a list of those who it's in, but we cannot have teachers such as these in our schools because they are just poison and they're taking our schools down.
We have a list because these teachers are poison. You've got our Republican National Committee logo behind them. This guy was loved by his community, by students. He wasn't even in classrooms. That's the other thing. He says, he's like, look, I wasn't even teaching American history. It's just something to say. I mean, I almost feel like it says more about you to stay silent as a principal in a time of incredible upheaval, which actually, ironically, guess what? He got so much support for his letter. Yes, it's a majority white community. Did they like his letter? Yes. Did the school board not like the letter? Yeah, it was the board. And if there's any more of a case to run for local election, you see it right there. People didn't want it. The school board did, and they're the ones who ousted him.
That lady's grade A Ku Klux Klan. Yeah. She's like, and I have a list of these black people, and we're gonna get them all. They're on our list, and we're gonna get them. They say that, black people are the same as white people. They'll see, we'll show them. I mean, Francesca, you made a brilliant point. These guys say they're against cancel culture. She has a list of people she wants to fire for being black.
Yep.
No, you guys love cancel culture. You love oppression. You can't wait to oppress others. You find the idea that we would all govern equally abhorrent. You think, oh no, we gotta make America great again. And what do they mean by that? When only white people were in charge. Look, if you were unsure how do you explain this? You should be sure now. The guy's letter was perfectly benign. Unbelievably benign. He didn't say anything controversial at all. They obviously fired him for daring to be black. We're back at the Emmett Till days, right? Well, he shouldn't have looked at me like that.
Yeah, he should have known his place. He didn't even say white privilege. like that usually is what triggers them when you mention that like the other race is white. No, I didn't even say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one last thing here. Look, guys, I didn't grow up black in America. I didn't grow up white in America. And so for a long time, I didn't understand how bad racism was in this country because I didn't live it, right? I lived a different kind of bigotry, but not as anywhere near as bad as African Americans deal with every day in America, okay? And so when I saw stories like, I remember one story we covered where some racist asshat right winger in the South was like, no, I'm not racist. Once I even let a black guy use my bathroom. I was like, the first time I read that, I was like, I didn't understand what he was talking about. I was like, what difference would it make? And I'm like, oh my God, they think that it pollutes their bathroom to have a black man inside. Oh my God, this is insane, right? And no, it turns out, yeah, a huge percentage of this country just is like viciously racist. So I don't know how we're gonna get along.
And proudly, and that's like, I think yes, proudly racist. Trump did that. He unearthed the stuff that was already there, as Jay.
Yeah, he gave them permission to come out of the racist closet.
Yeah, and now they're out there like, oh, we don't need you. We've got Ron DeSantis. We can still do this, which honestly, I've been telling them for a while. Like, you could still be racist and like let Trump go. We've got other problems. We might have a more competent fascist, but you can still hold on to your bigoted, stupid views. I hope it helps you out in life. I hope you really get ahead.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah, I can't stop. Sorry. Everyone who mentions critical race theory as if it's a thing that's real is racist. Let's be clear. And watch here, I'll trigger them so easy. Muslims are equal to Christians. Okay, right now, I guarantee you that if I was anywhere involved in education, in anywhere that controlled by Republicans, I would be fired for saying that. Because they hate the idea of equality. They hate it. Go somewhere else. Love it or leave it. America has equality in its founding documents. It's supposed to be equality and justice for all. If you're a weirdo racist that doesn't like that, leave. Go somewhere else, okay? But you don't belong here in America. You're the most un-American people I have ever met. That lady, that vicious, stupid, racist lady that we just showed you, deeply un-American, hates the idea of America.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, we really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.